Hello humans, I'm back. My name is Alora Scott. I am a storyteller and illustrator, and I like to talk about stories and create stories. So I've been thinking a lot about two magical girls from my two favorite fictions. Attack on Titan by Hajime Isayama and A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Daenerys and Ymir are amongst the most powerful beings in their world. I see a lot of similarities in that they obtain their magic power through their will to live. But the way my ladies use their power is so different and have such different consequences. I think there's a lot to learn about that in storytelling. So let's see Daenerys and Ymir use their gifts. Ymir is one of the most important characters in the Attack on Titan universe, even though she does not speak a word of dialogue and her story ended 2,000 years ago. She starts off as an enslaved little girl of the Eldian Empire under King Fritz. In her early life, she let some of the king's pigs escape just to know what it'd be like to be free. She was punished for this. The other slaves blamed her to save themselves, and King Fritz sent out a hunting party to kill her. It was here that she gained her Titan powers to defend herself. When she came back to the king with her new powers, he called her a slave, and she continued to be one. So, over the next few years, with her power, Ymir served King Fritz and the Eldian Empire, expanding, warring, and oppressing people all over the Attack on Titan world. Fritz forced Ymir to bear his children. She served as his military power for 13 years until the Eldians captured Marley. A Marleyan soldier tried to kill King Fritz, and Ymir sacrificed herself in her human form and died, saving him. Ymir lost the will to live. In her dying, she was disrespected even further, and she failed to protect her 3 daughters that she had by the king. He made the girls eat her entire dead corpse to preserve her power. And then he made them multiply and have children and make them eat the corpses of their parents or their previous generation, which eventually created the 9 Titans that we see today in the current story. Ymir was cursed after her death. She was sent to the Paths, a timeless, endless space where she would create Titans and serve the will of the king and his descendants for all eternity. And of course, in the real world, all of her Titan children are enslaved in some way as well. Ymir really should have fucking smashed King Fritz. Ymir's curse, I believe, comes from her having the power to finally free herself and others, but instead, she uses it to make the world worse, even though it kills her inside. I've always found it interesting when both Frida Rice and Grisha Yeager told the story of Ymir as a goddess who used her power to build and grow communities and advance technology. But instead, Ymir's blessing became a never-ending chain of servitude, watching her Titans live and kill and die every 13 years, if they make it that long. Then the curse got even worse over time. When the Eldian Empire was defeated, Marley took back 7 of the 9 Titans. Then Marley started warring with everybody just like the fucking Eldians did. The Marley Titans, like Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt, were made to create war and subjugation in other countries. The rest of the Eldians around the world were then hated and oppressed. Ymir has a relationship with all the Eldian people, and that anyone born with Eldian blood can become a Titan. And now with her power, Eren Yeager is destroying the world. I think the hard meaning in Ymir's story is that she didn't use her gifts to stand up to her devil, so she became one, and now everyone else is paying for it. My girl, Daenerys. Okay, so Daenerys starts off as the exiled princess across the narrow sea. She looks like a magical girl, but she doesn't live the life of one. traveling around with her abusive brother Viserys Targaryen, trying to survive as children on the streets. They end up in Illyrio Mopatis's manse, and Daenerys is preparing to be sold as a child bride to the Khal Drogo at the age of 13. And as you might expect for a 13-year-old marrying a 30-year-old, it did not go great for Daenerys at first. Her peace of mind only came at the expense of sexually pleasing Drogo and bearing his children. In that, she has found some of her voice, but it was under her husband's power. I think it was very good of Isayama and George R. R. Martin to highlight both Ymir and Daenerys' womanhood, fertility, and sexuality as a means to connect them with magic and their suffering. I think a common theme that I see in a lot of magic and power systems is the magic and power of fertility and creation and blood sacrifice. Now, through her marriage in the Khalasad, Dany developed a connection to her dragon eggs and her pregnancy and dragon dreams. These little pieces of magic give Daenerys the will to live. When she sacrificed Mirri Maz Duur, she gave living blood to the burning magic of fire, and Mirri's life went into the dragons and hatched them. So Daenerys gets a lot of criticism for burning Mirri Maz Duur, but at that point they were enemies. Dany's will to live was at odds with Mirri's desire for revenge, and Dany was burning her child, her husband, and her betrayal and her past, in a way, into the dragons. She takes the leftover people from Drogo's previous Khalasar and does her best to keep them alive. So Daenerys and her baby dragons become a wonder of the world, and when she gets to Qarth, she is showered with gifts and adoration. But it's also there that she learns that her dragons are threatened. By the time she left Qarth, Xaro Xhoan Daxos wanted her out of his face and gone. And then she starts up the slave rebellions in Astapor. Daenerys and her dragons. She's bold. After she tricks Krasnys and the other masters into selling her the Unsullied army, she burns them, and the Unsullied kill them and free themselves. Daenerys gives them the option to lead a free life or to join her on her campaign as freedmen. Each event that happens with Daenerys' dragons catapults her to more fame and more people surrounding her and depending on her. So, in the 5th book, Daenerys takes over the Great Pyramid City Meereen after killing 163 slave masters and ending slavery in that city. So now Daenerys is trying to manage the city, create a new economy, and maintain the peace amongst freed people now, all while a shadow war from the previous masters is being waged against her. I think Daenerys' biggest test yet is how she will respond to this new war in Meereen, because the rest of the powerful slave owners across the continent of Essos are sending their soldiers in there to get that action with her too. Daenerys disrupted one of the most influential and powerful and lucrative systems in all of Essos, and the people who lost their power from it want her dead and destroyed, and if they can, they'll get her dragons too. So now she has to smash that down everywhere in Essos. But right now, Daenerys is stuck with Drogon in the Dothraki Sea, and Khal Draco has found her, and they don't fuck with each other. She's got a lot on her plate, but I think her triumph is going to be insane, because she steps it up with every challenge. She's reborn again with every challenge. So we can see the inverse relationship between Ymir and Daenerys. Their stories are not finished in the anime or the book, respectively, but their themes seem to be heading in reverse of each other. They have their similarities in that they were in a low place, and their will to live in combination with their magic blessing, but they bear the responsibility of their freedom differently. Whereas Ymir's inability to use her power freely, as well as her Titan descendants, is now leading to the destruction of Attack on Titan's world, Daenerys is using her power to embolden and empower and free people from slavery, the very lowest of the low. Both of their stories are very grounded and visceral. They are both used for their sexuality against their will, for their reproductive abilities, and both of them have the concept of motherhood expand beyond their own direct family. Ymir considers all the Eldians a part of her, which is why she can communicate with them in the past, and Eldians are the only people who can inherit the Titan power. Daenerys feels connected to her people in their hodgepodge goal of living a self-determined, peaceful life. The Attack on Titan world is paying to the nth degree because Ymir and her Titan descendants never got the chance to use their powers for good. Daenerys is bearing the weight of all the lives she's taken into her hands. She has to keep her promise to keep herself and her dragons and her people alive. When I tell you I love these stories, it's interesting to reflect on. Using your gifts in this instance can lead to disaster or salvation. And I think that's something really interesting to analyze and see in progress in two brilliant, complex characters. That is something very interesting to reflect upon in storytelling. So that's it. We talked about storytelling. Now I think it's time, for myself at least, to exercise the old creative muscle. I wrote and illustrated a story for y'all about using your gifts and sacrifice. So if you are interested in creating a story, I challenge you to do the same. You know, create a story of any medium where your character or the theme is using a gift, and then the consequences of what happens if they do use it, if they don't use it, or what have you. And if you like my art style already, or if you like my storytelling style, or if you're curious about my long-form storytelling, I welcome you to buy my illustrated adult nerd romance, Niche Tales Underneath Her Skin, on my website, alorascott.com, or on Amazon. Anyways, follow me on social media, Twitter, I'm Alora Scott, Instagram, I'm Alora Scott Art, Artful, I'm Alora Scott, and a bunch of links down below. So please subscribe and share this video because I would love to keep a conversation open with good storytelling, and I would love to create good stories for you, with you, by you, all of that. So please like, comment, and share. And I will talk to you again soon. Mwah. Thank you. Goodbye.